So earlier in April, I discussed 5 different brand new Egyptian god support cards. If you guys haven't seen that video, I'll make sure to do a quick summary of those cards. But in today's video, I want to talk about the final reveal for this god card support, bringing it up to 7 cards. Wait a second. Yeah, so basically what happened is that I reviewed those 5 cards, but there was one card before those, a fusion monster, that I actually have not talked about yet. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the first revealed god card support, the fusion monster, which was revealed quite a while ago at this point, and also talk about the latest reveal, which is a really cool spell card that makes Ra kind of unstoppable. It's really nice. If you remember that video, you might remember that they got 2 main deck monsters, Reactor Slime and Guardian Slime. So Reactor Slime can summon some tokens, it can set a Metal Reflect Slime from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and then you can immediately use it that turn. Guardian Slime can special summon itself if you take damage, and then also when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to search any spell or trap card that specifically lists the Winged Dragon of Ra in its text from your deck to your hand. Both of these cards are really good, but what's most important about them is that they're both boosted by the Egyptian God Slime, a card that I didn't discuss in a previous video. Egyptian God Slime is a level 10 aqua water monster that has 3000 attack and 3000 defense. Now if you want to summon this thing the normal way, well, it takes 1 aqua monster plus 1 level 10 water monster. I probably wouldn't suggest that though, because it has a very convenient effect that combos with both of those slime cards in a pretty unique way. Here's what it says. It must first either be fusion summoned, which would be using those materials, or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing 1 level 10 aqua monster with 0 attack. Now what meets those criteria? Well, obviously you have Guardian Slime, which we just talked about, but you also have Metal Reflect Slime, which can be searched with Reactor Slime. So pretty easy to bring out, and it's also one of the best ways to trigger the Guardian Slime search effect, which is something that I missed in the original video that I made about all of this support. What else does it do? Well, it says this card can be treated as 3 tributes for the tribute summon of a monster, which obviously helps you tribute summon the god cards like Ra, and also it cannot be destroyed by battle. Your opponent cannot target monsters you control with card effects except Egyptian God Slime. Also, their monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except Egyptian God Slime. Now, is this card good or is this card bad? Well, it's somewhere in the middle, at least in my opinion. Basically, after going back to this card after I made that video, I realized that Reactor Slime and Guardian Slime are both a lot better than I originally anticipated, because God Slime actually does combo really nicely with both of them in some pretty cool ways. Ancient Chant was one of the most talked about cards from that last video. It adds a Ra right to your hand from your deck or graveyard, which is great, and then also it gives you an additional normal summon, but it has to be a tribute summon, which is really cool. This card really makes Reactor Slime and Guardian Slime make a lot more sense in context of a Ra sort of OTK strategy. The other effect of Ancient Chant is that you can banish it in the graveyard, and if you tribute summon a Winged Dragon of Ra this turn after you resolved this effect, its original attack and defense become the combined original attack and defense of the monsters tributed for its tribute summon, basically just giving one of the anime abilities of Ra into the actual physical card. Millennium Revelation lets you search Monster Reborn by discarding a Divine Beast monster, which is kind of nice, and then also you can send it to the graveyard while it's in your spell and trap card zone to make the Winged Dragon of Ra able to be special summoned by Monster Reborn. Obviously the idea here is that you discard Ra and then you send this card to the graveyard to Monster Reborn the Ra right back. Pretty cool. I mean, the Ra doesn't come out with any attack points, but the important part about that is that you're supposed to combine it with One with the Sun Deity. One with the Sun Deity is a trap card, but luckily you're allowed to use it the turn that it was set as long as you control the Winged Dragon of Ra, which you probably will. During the main phase, you can pay life points that you only have 100 left. One special summoned Ra you control gains attack and defense equal to the amount of life points paid. Basically, the idea here is that you revive it with Monster Reborn, and then you can immediately give it a bunch of attack points. Once per turn, you contribute 1 the Winged Dragon of Ra, gain life points equal to the attack it had on the field. That means that if you try to OTK your opponent and it doesn't quite do enough damage, you can then tribute the Ra in main phase 2 or whatever, and then gain back all those life points that you just paid. Alright, so now that we're all on the same page here, and we know the 6 cards that have already been revealed, let's talk about the newest card, Blaze Cannon, a quick play spell. And one thing to remember and to keep in mind with this card specifically is that for some reason with its translation it is treated as a Blaze Accelerator card. Now because it is a Blaze Accelerator card, you can theoretically automatically search this with Volcanic Rocket. I'm not sure if people actually take advantage of that interaction in a raw-based strategy. I know that I probably would at least experiment with a couple copies of Volcanic Rocket, and maybe even go as far as to play a crazy casual hybrid deck with Volcanics and this raw support. The actual effect of this card is pretty interesting. It gives a bunch of buffs to the Winged Dragon of Ra. So this thing says one Ra that you control gains these effects until the end of this turn. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated, which is really nice. The first buff that Ra receives is this card is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. That's really good. It's super powerful. It's actually like crazy powerful, giving this huge monster that's sort of seen as an OTK machine, making it unable to be affected by your opponent's card effects is really strong. The second buff is when an attack is declared involving this card, you contribute any number of other monsters that did not declare an attack this turn. This card gains attack equal to the combined original attack of the attributed monsters until the end of this turn. That's kind of cool as well. If your Ra does not have over 8,000 attack, maybe you want to attribute some other monsters, give it even more attack points to make sure you're defeating your opponent in one attack. The third and final buff is really interesting as well. After damage calculation, if this card attacked, you can send all monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard. Holy crap, this thing is really exciting. I'm a little bit surprised that they waited until the very end to reveal this card, because this actually changes a lot. I mean, this is like the best raw support card out of the entire bunch. This is the card that you want to see. It's the card that you want to build your entire deck around. Well, I guess you're building it around Ra, but you get the point. This is a card that makes all the other support to make a lot more sense. You want to turbo out that Winged Dragon of Ra, whether it's by tribute summoning it with your extra tribute summon, or whether it's by special summoning it and then using that trap card to boost its attack points. In my opinion, at least after looking at all 7 of these new support cards, if you want to build a Winged Dragon of Ra strategy, these are all cards that I would consider playing. They all have their own uses, they're all really cool, they all have multiple effects that really interact with each other quite well, and overall I'm fairly impressed by all of these support cards. What's exciting as well is that we seem to be getting these cards in Legendary Duelist 7. Now, we don't know what the official title of the set is. It is just known as the 7th Legendary Duelist pack. Now, I posted this on Twitter yesterday, but the description for Legendary Duelist 7 says this: dive deep into the decks of duelists shrouded in darkness with the next chapter in the Legendary Duelist series. Yugi's final foe in the Battle City tournament was none other than Merrick, leader of the Rare Hunters and master of the Winged Dragon of Ra. Merrick's advanced tactics using the Winged Dragon of Ra were previously impossible to replicate, but 7 new cards in this set are poised to make the impossible possible. But why stop at just upgrading your deck strategy? This new Legendary Duelist set includes an extra special version of the Winged Dragon of Ra like you've never seen before. I suppose there is a very small chance that these are 7 entirely different Winged Dragon of Ra support cards than what we talked about from the OCG already in these videos, but I think that most people agree that these 7 cards are the 7 cards that the OCG just got done revealing. I'm pretty sure that the extra special version of the Winged Dragon of Ra is the alternate artwork version that we've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and the OCG format. That would make a lot of sense. I mean, once again here, we do not have official confirmation because we haven't seen any pictures, but that would just make the most sense to me, at least, that the extra special version is that alternate artwork that we haven't gotten yet in the TCG. So how good are all of these cards? Now that we know all of them, now that we know we're probably getting them in September in the TCG format, how impactful are these cards actually going to be at a tournament level? Honestly, I'm not super overwhelmed right now about the Winged Dragon of Ra and whatever deck it would actually get played in. This support unironically makes the Winged Dragon of Ra like 100 times better. This makes an entire strategy out of a single card, but I feel like it lacks in other areas. Sure, it has a really easy way putting Ra on the field and getting it to a lot of attack points, but it's not very versatile. It puts all of its eggs into that one basket of OTKing your opponent with the Winged Dragon of Ra, and if your opponent has like any interruptions at certain key points in your combo, then you really just don't have any other win conditions. I think we can safely say at this point that the Sacred Beast structure deck did more for the Sacred Beast monsters than this support has done for the Winged Dragon of Ra. This support is flashy and it's big and it makes you summon a Winged Dragon of Ra that your opponent can't deal with, and all of that is great. If you want to feel like Merrick, then these are the cards to do that. that, but in terms of competitive play, I'm just not really seeing it. Still, I feel like Konami did a fantastic job with all of the support. It is certainly not easy giving the Winged Dragon of Ra or any of the god cards all of their anime effects, but this is one of the ways that you could have done it. I mean, making a whole bunch of different cards that each individually have like one of the anime perks of Ra was really, really cool. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below what you feel about this support. I can't wait to see if we eventually get Obelisk or Slifer support around the same power level of these ones, because these cards are really, really cool, and I think that Slifer and Obelisk are more competitively viable just in general, so their support actually might end up making a competitively viable strategy. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Goodbye.